Hello viewers, welcome back to the lab. This is going to be part 9 of the DPB-7001 restoration that we've been looking at for over a year now. So yeah, we're getting close to the end though. So we're going to look at the video input on this because it's not working basically. So hopefully you can remember in part 8 we had the SMD disk emulator up and running, so we can boot this up and use it as it should do. A few remaining things were the video input and the lights on the front and that sort of stuff. So I've been looking at the video input side and I've made some progress, and I'm going to detail that now. So let me rearrange the camera around a little bit so you can see the front of the machine, and I'll explain, so I can explain how the video input works and what is wrong with it currently. Okay, let's take a look at the video input sections on the DPB. Now, you've seen a view like this before, and I've mostly talked about the cards up in the top section. They're all the digital video processing section, the computer section, and the video output. The video input is all at the bottom, so it's made up of 4 cards. We have a decoder card, input locking, decoder bypass, and an ADC, analog to digital converter. There is 2 ways to input video into the Paintbox. You have either composite video or RGB. The RGB video comes in and is converted by the ADC card into YUV, and then it's digitized. So it does 2 things on the ADC card: converts RGB video to YUV, and it's got the analog to digital converter on it. The decoder card is the card responsible for the composite video decoding. It's quite a separate board. There's not really anything that the Paintbox can do to control it. It's almost literally just a video input and a video output. What this does is it takes the composite video, PAL in this case, and converts it into YUV. These cables here would normally plug into the decoder card and then pass that YUV to the ADC where you can capture it. So let's take a look at some of these cards. So this is the ADC card. So as I said, this does 2 jobs. It has the analog to digital converters on, and it converts RGB video into YUV. So there's some analog sections going on here. These would be just for filtering, adjusting levels and things like that. We can see the video actually coming in on some coax from the edge connector, running over to various parts on the board. So this will be doing all the RGB to YUV conversion. And we've got 2 devices here. Those are the ADCs. There is 2 of them because one will be sampling the chroma information and one will be sampling the luminance information. And of course, because this is YUV with 422 encoding, the luminance will be taken on every single sample, but the chroma, it will digitize 1 sample of the BY signal, and then the next sample will be the RY. So it's sampled at half the rate of the luminance. It's quite common in the video production industry to do that. In fact, it's still used today. This is the decoder bypass card. There is almost nothing on there apart from the coax connections from the PAL decoder. This is the input locking card. This card takes the video signal, the sync signals. What this card does is take the sync and lock to it, so it locks the frame frequency of the Paintbox, so it's in sync or gen locked to the incoming video. And lastly, we have the decoder card. It's a bit of a monster card, this one. So this is a PAL video decoder. So this takes the composite video signal and strips out the syncs. It'll strip out the colour information to just give you YUV video. It's actually quite a complex card, this one. There's a lot on here for a PAL decoder. I guess Quantel probably wanted to do something really well, and it just took this amount of electronics to do it properly and not cut corners. Right, that's all the cards plugged back in. Now, the status of where we actually are at the moment is the ADC is working. The original one that was in there didn't. It was just completely dead, but I did have a spare, so I swapped that in, and that seems to be working fine. So at the moment, we have RGB video input. The PAL decoder board is not working at the moment. There's a couple of things not right, but the great news is that RGB video input is working, and I can show you that. PAL decoder card is, if I put video into it, I'd literally get nothing out. So there's obviously something died somewhere along the signal path, and I just need to trace it out. Now, at the moment, it's a bit difficult to do that because my workbench has currently got a Paintbox on it. So there's going to be some plans to move all this to somewhere that I'm going to call like a mini studio. So I'll be able to use the Paintbox and also have a workspace where I can actually do repairs to stuff like this. So at the moment, if I put video input into this, nothing comes out. Now, there is also another issue, and that is when this is plugged into the crate, the video input actually comes in on this coax here, which picks up a connection on the highway in the back. Now, at the moment, there is no connection between this pin here and the port on the back that has the composite video input. So it means that something has either broken or it's not connected properly in the back of the machine, which I'm going to have to look into. Now, as we know from the early episodes of this, this machine was completely and utterly disassembled and then put back together. So I found a load of faults with the way it was put back together that time. So I suspect there's probably something else that has not been put back together properly, and that's why we don't have a connection between the video port at the back to the edge connector where the card plugs in. So that's two faults that need to be fixed. The card itself isn't working, and there isn't a connection from the back of the machine to this card anyway. Now, interestingly, I did want to go and look in the back of this anyway because, as I've mentioned before, the lights on the front here don't light up, and these buttons don't do anything at all. They're just purely cosmetic at the moment. So I need to go in the back of the machine and try and trace where these pots and switches should connect onto the back plane, and hopefully that'll fix it. And hopefully that means we'll also get lights on these as well, because I still don't have any power. The light doesn't come on when you have the power on, which is just weird, because the bulb is fine. The wiring seems fine to here, so it's something down at the back. So that is going to be for a future video. What we're going to do in the rest of this one is power this up, and I'll show you a bit of the video input. Right, so let's just power this on. We'll let the machine boot up. There we go, we've got the machine up and running. As we're talking about the video input, let's show you where you go to actually select that. So it's not on any of these menus, it's on what is known as a It's on what is known as the top level menu, which means you access that by deselecting all the options, and you get all these user options. Turn a few of these, and you can see here we've got live video, one to many, RGB source and composite source. So as I mentioned before, this has got two video inputs. You've got the composite video and RGB, so you just use this to select between the two. The one, two and many, what they are for is for capturing field 1, field 2 and many fields. At the moment, the way I'm inputting video into this, because it is RGB, the easiest way for me to get video into this is to actually use the output of my other Quantel Paintbox. So what you're going to see on the screen is another Paintbox, so it might be a bit confusing. So if I select live video and then swipe off, that is the live video that's coming from my Paintbox Express. If I switch over to its tablet, this is the cursor on my Paintbox Express. So it all looks a bit weird, doesn't it? Because this is actually a video that's coming in to the DPB. Now what I can actually do is that is the cursor from my DPB, and this is the cursor from my Paintbox Express. So if I swipe that off, that captures that frame. And that is now in my buffer, and I can now paint on it with the DPB. So obviously you can see that this is working really nicely. There doesn't really seem to be much to adjust. Interestingly though, the knobs mentioned on the front of the machine don't do anything, so I suspect I should be able to adjust a couple of things here. We've got gain and black level, so I should be able to adjust those from the front panel, but they don't work. But the picture looks pretty good anyway, to be honest. So if I switch back to the live video and swipe off, so this is back on the Paintbox Express. So what we can actually do here is load up some images, and it basically allows us to transfer still images from one machine to the other, even though we're doing it over analog video. So we can take a picture of the White House there, leave it on full screen, and then I can just switch back to the DPB, swipe off, and that is now captured. So this makes the DPB now so much more interesting to use, because I can actually get video into it, and that was the whole point of the Quantel Paintbox, manipulating live video. So what we can do now is things like actually use paste up and the stencils. So we can, for example, draw stencil, big one. We can draw a really rough stencil around here. Reverse it, go to paste up, cut, picture and stencil. Now we've got a cutout there, so you can see how quick you can do things here on Paintbox. Now another thing you can actually do is actually have this over live video. So what we can actually do now is turn on live video and swipe off. The video in the background is actually the Paintbox Express. So if I switch back, that's a full page menu, so I can actually have this now. Woo! So I've got mental. So yeah, you wouldn't really use Paintboxes this way. It's just a good way to demonstrate to everyone, that the video input is really working. And you can see here, I can use the rat to size it, turn it around, I can stick it down, paste it, all the sort of stuff you can do in Paste Up. But it's really great that we've got video input now. I would just like to get the composite video working. I think that's quite a useful thing to have, because if I take this out to shows and stuff and actually get this on display, it might actually be easier to use composite video. It's just a little bit easier on the cabling. So what is going to be happening soon is this machine is going to be moved into another room in the house. I'm going to try and set it up as like a small little studio, so it'll actually be set up properly so I can actually use it. And one of the reasons why I want to do that is because it will get it off this table, which is my workspace. You know, this has been sat on here for almost a year. It needs to go because I need the workspace, because I want to get the PAL decoder card working. And to do that, I'm going to have to sit down on the bench and actually do some electronics. Right, I think that pretty much wraps up this video. Thank you to all my patrons for all their support. Thank you to everyone over on the Discord community. I love you all. Thanks for the thumbs up, the likes, and all that sort of good stuff. If you've got any comments, leave them in the comments section, and I will see you on the next video. Bye for now.